mat and let's get started in child's pose. So you can bring your big toes together and your knees wide and let your eyes close and settle in. And take a moment as you rest here to draw your hips towards your heels and reach forward through the spine and through the crown of your head. And slow down your breath. You'll notice as you hold this pose that the lower back can release. If you have any tension around your hips or your lower back, that starts to soften. Let's just take one more breath here. We'll walk the hands in and come on up, and we're going to start with 2 restorative poses. So grab right away today. Usually we end with these restoratives. We're going to start with them today. Grab your bolster or your stack of 2 pillows, and then grab your 2 blocks, and you can put your blocks right in front of the pillows that are stacked or the bolster on the lowest setting. And what you'll do is sit on the blocks. So you're going to sit right here and plant your palms on the bolster and lift your chest. And then scoop your hips forward to the wall in front of you just a little bit so that your tailbone drapes off the edge of that set of blocks. And then you're going to lower down onto your elbows. Your elbows might be on the bolster or behind it, just depends on your proportions. And you want to feel the tailbone is off the blocks, the sacrum, the back of the pelvis is on them. And this big blanket, bolster, pillow, whatever you've got, goes all the way up to the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. And then you're going to bring your arms out wide and lower down. And if you're tighter in your shoulders, you might want to put another cushion or a blanket folded up under the back of your head so that you're lifted. Otherwise, if it's comfortable, you can lower down to the back of your head. Bring your feet wider than hips width and draw your knees towards one another so the leg muscles can totally power off. And then close your eyes. And bring your awareness to your breath. Slow down your breath. And let your breath move up into the solar plexus, the lungs, the heart center. Opening the front body. So this is just a gentle back bend, a little counter pose if you spend a lot of time seated in front of a computer. This would also be a good one for that sinus pressure we were talking about. As you exhale, feel the weight of your head and the weight of your hips release down. And as you inhale, feel the front of your lungs, the heart center, and the solar plexus expand. So that the breath begins to gently open the body. Let your breath do all the work for you, and you can simply relax. Relax into the support of the props beneath you, the floor beneath you. Breath by breath, lifting through the front body. And we'll take one more here. And then open your eyes and draw your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Your palms will face in, thumbs back to the wall behind you. Grab a hold of opposite elbows, and like you're yawning in the morning, reach your arms up over your head. Give a little pull on the left and the right elbow. And if you had a helper, they would be pulling your thighs towards the other wall. So you get a feeling of traction from your elbows to your hips, opening, opening, opening. Take one more breath. Go down into the back of the pelvis. Get nice and bottom heavy. Down into the back of the pelvis. Up with the heart. Back with your elbows. And then gently release your arms. And we're just going to roll off of the props here. So you can roll to your side. Either side, doesn't matter. And then use your hands to come on up. And one more restorative. So we'll move the bolster out of the way. You don't need that. And you'll just use the 2 blocks. And this time I'm going to lift them up to the middle setting. So this is the low, this is the middle, and they're connected like one long block. And then you're going to come back here behind them. And it's important the part of the body that you place onto them. So rather than putting the thigh on the block, you want to put the pubic bone and the hips on the block. Your knees will be on the ground. The tops of your feet will be on the ground. And you're going to pause here with your hands on the ground. And you want to get yourself placed just right so you can scooch forward or back until your pubic bone and your hip bones are on them. And you're going to lengthen forward. So pull with your hands, pull your spine forward, and then lower down onto your right cheek. And you can make a cactus shape with your arms. So your hips are up, and it's kind of like you're just draped across a clothesline. So your spine drapes off of that hinge this way, and your hamstrings drape off of it this way. And this gives you your hip hinge, which is really important in poses like downward facing dog, even any standing or seated forward fold. You want to start from your hip hinge rather than starting the process from your low spine. So this is a great way to just gently teach the body about where the hip hinge is and how to hinge from the hips without rounding in the spine. You can close your eyes and just let gravity do its thing. So you're going to feel a nice, easy kind of tractioning of the low spine forward away from the hip hinge. Breathe deeply. And let your legs get nice and heavy. And feel your ribs pour forward away from your hips. And this can also feel really good in the lower back, in that dense thoracolumbar fascia, where we can get kind of achy back here behind the hips. And then just turn your other cheek to the mat. So you're going to rest the other cheek to the ground. Relax the weight of your body so you feel really supported. Feel the top of the knees and the tops of your feet release down into the ground. For a couple more nice deep breaths. If you ever have lower back pain, this can be a really gentle way to start to work into the low back and lengthen. Breathe down to the low back and open. Now, from here, you'll bring your forehead to the mat. Tuck the chin to the chest so you don't smush your nose. And bring your hands back. So they're going to rest. Your hands will rest on the blocks, on the front surface of the blocks, right under your hips. But you're going to interlace your fingers at the webbing and then push your palms into the blocks until it's like you want to straighten your elbows. So you'll feel this really nice sense of traction through the sides of your waist. Push from thumb to pinky. And take 2 more breaths. It's like if you could straighten the elbows, you would. Grow tall up out of the hips. All right. And then come on up to all fours. You can move your blocks out of the way. And from all fours, find downward dog and just feel perhaps how it's a little different after finding that hip hinge. So we'll lift the knees and the hips and then feel that hip hinge. So the hip hinge helps you stay long through the back, and you might bend your knees to find your hip hinge. But sometimes when we do down dog, we hinge in the low back, and the low back gets kind of rounded like this. So see if you could experiment. You can bend your knees or you can experiment and keep them straight, but can you find that same feeling like you're hanging off a clothesline? So there's like a steadiness to the structure you give your body, and then you can drape off of it. There's a spaciousness and ease as well. Thighs press out, shins hug in, and you're going to bring your ears right in line with your biceps. 2 more breaths. And then go ahead and look forward and step your feet all the way to the top of your mat. Come on into forward fold. And the knees could be bent or straight here, up to you, whatever feels good, whatever helps you to hinge from your hip joints. Shake out your head, lift your shoulders up from your ears. Take 1 more breath. And on your next inhale, half lift. Hands can draw up to the shins or fingers in line with toes. Look forward. As you exhale, fold forward over your legs. And let's inhale, circle the arms down, around, and up over the top of your head. And then exhale, gather your hands down to your heart center. Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. Inhale, reach down, around, and up. Look up. Exhale, fold in half, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands to shins or in line with the toes. Step back, plank pose, and hold for 3 deep breaths. Push into your hands, broaden your shoulder blades. Scoop your low belly up towards your sacrum and lengthen your tailbone to your heels. Feel the hands pull isometrically back towards the feet and the feet forward toward the hands to really fire up the belly. And then lower all the way down onto your belly in one solid piece. And you're going to bring your forehead onto the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet. Slide your fingertips. So climb up off the palms, fingertips, right in line with your bottom floating ribs. Hug your elbows in. Lift your head and your chest. Cobra. Now, you can use your hands today, but instead of pushing into your hands, I want you to think of pulling. So instead of pushing the hands forward, pull the fingertips isometrically back. And you'll feel your triceps and your lats, your back muscles. Pull your heart forward. Bhujangasana. Hug your elbows in. Press wide and down through the pinky toe edge of both feet. Feel the base of the skull. Bring it back and bring the crown of the head up. And take 1 more breath. And then we'll lower back down, tuck your toes, come to all fours. And then back into downward facing dog. So hands to the mat, knees and hips lift. And take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Look forward. Step your feet to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands to the shins or in line with your toes. Look forwards. Exhale, fold over your legs. Uttanasana. Inhale, circle your arms down, around, and up. Rise to stand. Look up. And then exhale, gather your hands to your heart. Let's just do 1 more like that. Inhale, circle your arms, push into your feet, look up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, look forward. And then exhale, step back, plank pose. 3 breaths. Hands pull towards feet, feet pull towards hands. Look forward a little. And with your next exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. Come on down, forehead to the mat, fingertips to the ground, elbows hug in, palms lift, cobra. Pull, 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 pull. Like if you were gonna move your hands, you'd be moving them back towards your feet. Hug your elbows in, widen your collarbones, and then pull the base of the skull back. and the crown of the head up. Widen the pinky toes out and down. And as you exhale, go forward, pull your ribs forward, lower to your forehead, and tuck your toes and come back to all fours. And then back to down dog, lift your hips. 3 breaths. Step your feet all the way to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms down, around, and up. Exhale, gather your hands to your heart. All right, from here, let's come all the way down onto our back for a little interlude, and then we'll come on back up to standing. So just go ahead and lie down. You'll want your strap nearby. We're going to get into the legs a little bit, and it'll help with this next standing set. So grab a strap, hug your right knee in, and lengthen your left leg out. And if this is too intense, you can always keep your left knee bent. That's fine. If your leg is straight, firm your left quadricep, lift it up, and root your left thigh bone back and down towards the mat. Bring the ball of the right foot into the strap and straighten out through your right leg. So you're going to hold the strap in either hand, flex your toes, level your hips, and just start to slow down and breathe as if you could breathe right into your right hamstrings. So some common things that happen in this pose, one is folks tend to tuck the tailbone under, and that causes this knee to bend. So even if it's just subtle, that can be happening. Feel if you can untuck the tailbone or bring the pubic bone back towards the tailbone, and that will kind of ground your thigh bone back and down so the knee doesn't bubble and buckle. Take one more breath right where you are. And then hold both sides of the strap in your right hand, and you can reach your left arm to the left and your right leg to the right. And another common thing that happens here is that left hip can go up off the ground. So feel that your left buttock can root down. And you might notice as you really get honest about bringing that left buttock down, that the left side of your belly has to work. There's some muscular energy there, so that the weight of this leg doesn't just roll you off your left hip. One more breath. And then we'll twist. So bring that leg across. You're going to hold both straps in your left hand, or you could hold your foot in your left hand. And you're going to lower it all the way over to the right side of you, and then reach your right arm all the way over the top of your head. Pause here. Reach back through your right arm, straighten your left knee, and reach forward through your left heel. Now, press your foot into the strap or your hand and pull your strap back, or with your hand, your toes back. And then lower the back of your head to the ground. So you're going to scooch your left ribs through to the left. And then right arm to the right, like you're a big clock arm. Turn all the way to the right. You can look up to the ceiling or out over your right hand, wide and across your chest and shoulders. Notice if the left knee is bending, and put some energy in your left leg. And take 2 more here. And then from here, slowly come on back up and hold the straps, both of them, with just your left hand. So now we're going to get into the outer seam of your right leg. So the hip will stay down. You're going to hook your right thumb and index, this big hook of your right hand, right into your outer hip. Draw the thigh down, tack the hip down, and bring the right leg a little bit, maybe a foot, just a little bit over to the left. So maybe the big toes over the left shoulder. And if you don't feel this yet, you can flex the pinky toe side of your right foot back, and you might feel this more in your outer leg. So we're going to be getting into this outside line of the leg a little bit more, a little bit later. We're just sort of greeting it right now. One more breath. Okay. And then come on back to the center and we'll switch. We'll do all that on the other side. Left knee in. Your right knee can stay bent or you can straighten it for this first position. Bring the straps around the ball of your left foot and straighten your left leg. And breathe deeply. Square off your hips. Notice if your tailbone is tucking and the knee is buckling up. Bring the pubic bone back to the tailbone, root into the sacrum, and firm your right thigh, root your femur back and down. Right thigh bone. And then one more breath. Open your chest, plug into your pelvis. Hold both sides of the strap in your left hand, open your right arm to the right and your left leg to the left. And then go down into that right hip so you'll feel the right side of your belly engage. And take one more breath right here. And then we'll go across the body. So you can hold the straps or the foot with the right hand, go all the way across and reach out through your right leg. Reach your left arm over your head. Get nice and tall. You might even feel that you can move your right ribs more towards the right wall. And then turn like the arm of a clock. Turn your left arm towards the left wall. You could keep looking up to the ceiling, or to deepen the twist, look out over your hand. Feel more of the left ribs roll down to the ground, more of the right back ribs roll up towards the front body, towards the ceiling. And then if the right knee is bent, put some energy in it, straighten it. So it's almost like you're getting pulled apart in all these directions. The crown lengthens back. It's like someone's pulling your right heel forward, and your left arm is getting pulled out to the left. And we'll take one more breath here. All right, and then bring it back to the center. The last stretch is just to get into this outside seam of the leg. You might feel it in the lower or the upper leg. So you'll hold both sides of the strap in your left hand. Sorry, not your left hand, your right hand. You'll take your left hand, thumb and index right into the hook of that hip, and the hip wants to hike up, so you're using the hand to draw the hip down. And then bring the leg a little bit, like a foot, over to the right, keeping your left hip down. So watch if that lifts, don't let it. Use the hand to help guide the hip down. Flex the pinky toe side of your left foot and take a couple more breaths into this outside leg. All right, and then from here you can let go of the strap. You can just toss it to the top of the mat. You might want to use it in a moment. And we're gonna rock and roll maybe 2 or 3 times. And then come on back into downward facing dog. And take a couple breaths here. So you might feel like you have a new pair of legs after opening up. Feel the space you've made. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, open your right hip, bend your right knee. Take a couple breaths here. Square your shoulders, open your hip. And then as you exhale, you'll step your right foot forward between your thumbs. So your left heel will set down at a 45-degree angle. You can grab your strap with you and just kind of come on up into Warrior Two and drape that strap over either shoulder. Just in case you want it in a moment, you'll have it up here with you. So take a moment to get into Warrior Two, knee over heel, right thigh presses back, left collarbone widens. Reach out, take up a lot of space. Now, take your right hand out in front of your nose, flip the palm, grab the elbow, and pat your back with your right hand. And look straight ahead, not down. You could stay here holding your elbow with your left hand, or you could hold the strap with your right hand and just drape it down. And then internally rotate your left and start to walk your left hand up. So the strap is there if you need a little support between your two hands, but you might not. You might latch your hands. So either way, strap or no strap or holding elbow, all the same, all good. Lift your chest up, go down into your hips, And then for many of us, this left collarbone wants to close, so can you give yourself your left collarbone? Keep the arms however they are and just reverse your warrior. Maybe look up under the right elbow towards the ceiling. Stay here. Bring your left arm down to your low back or your left hand to your right thigh. Straighten your right arm. Look up to the right thumb tip. Inhale. As you exhale, side angle with a half bind. That could be right forearm coming onto the thigh. That could be your block underneath your right hand on any height, or that could be your right heel of hand and the heel of the foot in line. And then open your chest. If you want to open even more, you spin the heel of the right hand forward, line it up, heel of hand, heel of foot, and it'll really open your collarbones from left to right. 2 more. From here, release your left arm up to the ceiling, and then come on up, warrior 2. Straighten your right knee, spin your 10 toes towards the long side of your mat. So exact same arm variation, and if you want the strap, grab it again. We're gonna bring the right hand out, grab the right elbow, reach up and pat your back, and you can stay here. You can use the strap or latch your fingers. Give a little soft bend to your knees and then lift up through your chest. Exhale, fold halfway over with a little soft bend. Inhale, reach through the spine. Exhale, fold all the way over. You can keep your knees bent or you can straighten them. Keep your arms. You're going to feel a pretty strong stretch in your left rotator cuff. Slow, steady breath. One more. Now, from here, gently, slowly, without flinging, bring the hands down to the ground out in front of you. Walk them towards the long side of your mat until your shoulders are right over your wrist. You can be on fingertips, palms, or blocks. Look forward and stretch your abdomen long. Exhale. Now walk it over to the top of your mat towards the right and frame up your right foot. And then step back, down dog. Pause in your down dog. Take a full breath in. Sigh it out through your mouth. Left leg lifted up. Inhale. Open your left hip, bend your left knee, square your shoulders. One more breath. And as you exhale, step your left foot forward between your hands. We're going to plant the right foot down at 45. Grab your strap if you want on the way up. Just drape it over your shoulder. I often find it's this side that's tighter for people who are right-handed, or if you play like tennis or golf and you're dominant with your right side, this side can be tighter. So you might need the strap on one side but not both. Have it in case you need it. Take a moment to settle into warrior 2. Press your left thigh back, widen your right collarbone. Take up space. Now take your left hand out in front of you, palm up, grab the left elbow and pat your back with your left hand. You can stay here holding the elbow or reach your right arm out and you can grab hold of the strap. Or if you don't need it, get rid of it and grab hold of your fingers. Once you have whatever you're holding on to, notice if the right collarbone has closed and your torso starts to twist. So widen your right collarbone. Activate the muscles between the right shoulder blade and the spine. So that's going to give you your right collarbone. Good, keep that and then reverse your warrior. Keep your right collarbone wide. Look up under your left elbow. From here, slide your right hand down, forearm to low back or right fingers to left thigh. Reach your left arm back, look up under your left thumb tip. Side angle with half bind. You can bring your left forearm to your thigh. You can place a block on any height right under your left hand or your left hand to the ground. Widen your right collarbone. Tether your back heel. Go up through your sacrum and forward through your spine. If you want to go on, the heel of the left hand can line up with the heel of the foot. You flip your fingers, really widening both sides of the chest. Two more here. Now slowly reach your right arm up and let's come on back up into warrior two. And then once you get up, you can straighten your left leg. That was a long set on that left leg. Spin your 10 toes forward, interlace, or don't interlace. We'll do the other side. Take your left hand out in front of you. So left palm up, grab your elbow, reach up, pat your back, pause here. Use that strap if you need it. So grab your strap if you need it. You could also stay here or internally rotate, grab strap, fingers, whatever you've got. Give a soft bend, lift up, fold halfway over. Pause here, inhale the heart forward. Exhale, fold from your hip hinge all the way over, knees bent or straight. If your head is very far from the ground, consider widening the 2 feet further apart. And if your head is kind of all the way down to the ground, you could consider bringing the feet in closer. Hinge from your hips. You'll feel a lot, might feel more if you're right-handed up in that right rotator cuff. Couple more breaths right here. And then from here, without flinging, gently, slowly, release your hands down to the mat and walk them out towards the long edge of your mat till your fingertips or palms or blocks are right under your shoulders. Pause and lengthen forward through your belly and your chest. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands to the top of your mat towards the left. Spin the 10 toes to the left. And come right on back to down dog. We'll sigh it out through the mouth. Inhale through your nose. All right, from here, walk your right hand thumb over towards your left. And then lift your right leg up towards the ceiling with square hips. You can stay right here the whole time, or I'm gonna offer lots of little up levels and you can choose to go on or just choose to stay. Okay, so next up level is left hand out like 9 o'clock. Look forward towards your right hand thumb tip. You could stay here or lift your left hand. And you might fall. It's okay. Come back if you do. And the next level is to bend your right knee and reach back with your left hand towards the foot. Maybe catch it and kick. You want to tack your outer left hip back. Push into your right fingertips. Look at your thumbnail. Square your hips. One more breath. And then we're going to release, if you have it, wherever you are. Walk your hands forward. And then hug your right knee in towards your left elbow. Fall in triangle. So we're going to seal the left foot down to the ground, toes to the left. And reach your right leg out to the right. Now take your left hand under your waist to your right ribs. And swipe your left hand from the right up towards the left. Turn yourself to the ceiling. Draw your left arm up. And then perhaps overhead. Now you want to press your pelvis forward, lean your upper back back, push into your right hand, and breathe. From here, bring both hands down to the floor and roll onto the ball of your left foot so you lift your left heel. You might want your pillow nearby, so we're going to come into a big stretch. We sort of greeted the outer line of the leg. Now we're going to really give it a big hug, get in there. So you're going to slowly lower onto your right outer leg from outer hip to outer foot. And if you want, grab your pillow or your bolster, stack of pillows, blankets, whatever you have. And that could go under your belly. And that makes this, it's a pretty intense pose, so that makes it a little more gentle. All right, the hands will be on either side. If you're using the bolster, you're going to just keep your toes tucked back there. Lengthen forward and lower. I'm going to show 3 options and then we'll get rid of this if you want to get rid of it and we'll go deeper. Right cheek to the bolster is the gentlest. Or you could go on from there. Forehead to the bolster. Tuck your chin to your chest so you don't smush your nose. Or you could go on from there and you're turning your left cheek to the bolster, and this gets you into a deeper spiral. You could even wrap your left arm around the bolster like you're giving it a little hug. Or no bolster. Same options. Your chest lowers to the mat. Keep your left toes tucked. You could have right cheek down, forehead down, chin to chest, or lengthen forward and rest your left cheek. And in this option, your left hand slides forward. So you have one long line, left hand to left tuck toes, and your right elbow is directly over your right wrist. That's your lever to turn more of your torso towards this right wall. Tuck your left toes under, push into them, and see if you can close your left hip bone down towards your inner right thigh. Lengthen your left armpit forward and your right hip crease back. 2 more breaths. Now we're going to just slowly thread the left hand back, bend the right knee, and thread your right leg back. So you're going to lie down right onto your belly. And we've done this one together before, so if you want, you can move the pillow, the blanket out of the way, whatever you've got there, the bolster. If you want to block for under your cheek, you could do that. Okay, so we've done this nice shoulder stretch before. We're going to do it together again. Left cheek on the bolster. Reach out to your left arm. Roll to your left hip. You could stay here or bend your right knee and bring your right foot behind your left knee. You could stay here or reach your right arm up. You could stay there or start to reach back, maybe latch fingers or hold a strap between the hands. You can bend both knees if you really want to go on and bump your hips to the left. So remember, just find the option that makes the most sense for your body today. Lots of options. And then close your eyes, slow down your breathing. Breathe up into that left upper arm and chest and relax your head down into the block. Two more. Now, from here, slowly straighten and come back onto your belly. You can slide your block out of the way. One more thing for this spiral line of the body. So we're gonna look at the left hand. Arms are in a letter T, straight out to your sides. And then you're gonna lift your right leg up. Bend your right knee and start to reach your right toes towards your left hand. Your right hip will lift. You're on your right cheek, so your right shoulder is gonna start to go up off the ground. But you wanna imagine someone is pulling on your right hand, and that helps you to get down into your right shoulder. And you're looking towards this left hand and getting your foot as close to your hand as you can. So you're gonna start to feel this big cross-lateral stretch up around your right hip. Breathe deeply. And when it's available, go down like someone's ironing out left to right across your shoulder blades. Go down into that right chest, right inner arm. Two more. All right, slowly, gently, come on back to your belly. Child's pose, that was a big stretch. So just come on back to child's pose. Take a couple breaths to integrate it all. Walk your hands forward, rest your forehead to the mat, and breathe. You might feel a big difference in the two sides of your back, the two sides of your chest, your hips. We're going to come back to all fours, and we'll even ourselves out. All right, so tuck your toes, find your downward facing dog. Walk your left hand over towards your right. And from here, lift your left leg up with square hips. You could stay here the whole time, both hands down. Or look at your left thumbnail and walk your right hand out to the right side. Like, what is this? 3 o'clock to the side. You can stay there or float your right hand, bend your left knee. If you fall, just come back to it. It's kind of a tricky one. So come back if you fall and try to catch your left foot or ankle with your right hand. Tack your outer right hip back, kick back, look forward. 2 more. And then from here, we're going to gently walk the hands forward and straighten the left leg and hug the left knee into the right elbow. Fallen triangle. Seal the inner arch of the right foot down, toes point to the right. And then from here, you're going to straighten your left leg out to the right wall. Take your right hand under your left ribs and then swipe from left to right. Lift your right arm and breathe. Maybe take the right arm overhead. 1 more. Now the big stretch. So take both hands down to the floor. Come onto the ball of your right foot. You can grab your pillows or your bolster or your blanket stack and put it under your belly. You're going to slide your left leg out to the right so you're on the outside seam of the leg, pinky toe to outer hip. Tuck your back toes. Turn your abdomen. Gentlest version, left cheek to the pillows. Going on, tuck your chin to your chest, forehead. Going on even more, really turn, grip with your right toes to turn, and you can give your bolster a big hug with your right arm and rest your right cheek to it. Elbow of the left arm right over the left wrist, and that gives you your lever. If you're going on, you could get rid of the props. Same thing, you could rest on your chest and your left cheek with cactus or goalpost arms or your forehead, or you can slide your right hand out in front of you, turn, grip with those right toes and rest onto your right cheek. And you're gripping with the toes and closing the right hip joint towards the left inner thigh. Your elbow is over your wrist. This forearm is perpendicular to the floor. It gives you a lever. One more here. And then to come out of this, you're just going to bend your right elbow, move the bolster, the blankets, the pillow, if you've got them, thread your left leg through and come onto your belly. You'll want to block for your right cheek. And you're going to reach your arms out in a big capital T and roll onto your right side. So you could stay here on your side or lift your left arm. You could bring your left foot behind your right knee. From there, if you want, reach back, maybe hold a strap between the hands or latch the hands. And you can bring both feet to the ground, bump your hips over to the right to deepen it. So just find what works well for you today. And then close your eyes and relax the weight of the head down into the block. Press into the underside of your right arm and breathe open the upper arm and the right side of the chest. 2 more. Now, open your eyes, slowly come back onto your belly. Last piece. You can move your block out of the way, arms out wide like a letter T, and rest your left cheek to the mat. So you're looking to your right hand. This left chest is going to want to lift, but you're going to imagine someone's pulling your left arm out to the left and closing the shoulder. Pick up your left leg, bend your left knee, reach your left foot towards your right hand, just as close as it will go. And then notice how this lifts and reach out through your left arm, like someone's ironing you out across your upper back, especially that left side, left shoulder. Look to your right thumb. Reach your right foot towards your right pinky finger. Breathe into that outer left hip, this big long spiral line like a julienne. Big spiral down the body. 2 more breaths. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come on back. Lengthen out through your legs. Take your time. Bring your hands in. Come on up. Child's pose. Take a couple deep breaths. Rest down into the third eye. Soften your brow. 1 more. All right, come on back up to all fours. And then we'll step the right foot outside of the right hand. I think I'm gonna face you guys for this part. So I'm just gonna turn my mat. So your right foot will be outside of your right hand, both hands inside of your right foot. And then turn your right thigh and toes out to the front right corner. And from here, you could stay on your palms. It just depends on how open your hips feel today. Or you could lower to your forearms, or somewhere between the two would be just putting a block under your forearms. And we'll take a couple breaths here. We're going to explore some different options within this, but you can always stay right here the whole time. If you want to go on, you're going to walk your hands over to like 10 o'clock, or your forearms over, or your forearms on blocks over. So your fingers point to 10, your toes of the right foot point to 2, and you're widening the space. Your right thigh presses back, widening the space between the right side body and the right thigh. You could stay here or in that first option, or if you want to go on, take your right arm up towards the ceiling. Push down into your left forearm or hand, and then catch your left foot with your right hand. And then kick. And open your chest towards the right wall, or maybe look up to the ceiling. Kick that foot into your hand for 3 breaths. And then our next option, if you want it, is to pull the left foot in, like the heel into the hip towards the buttocks. You'll feel this deep up into the quadricep. And you can start to close your chest towards the ground. Maybe lower the forehead to a block or the ground and breathe. 3 breaths here. And then we'll gently release if you have the left foot and come on into pigeon pose. I'm going to wiggle the right foot over to the left. Lower down. You can always lie down on your back to modify this pose. You'd have your right ankle across your left thigh. Root down into the right hip or tuck a block under it and come forward. Pigeon pose. Soften your jaw. And take a couple more deep breaths here. We're going to come back up to all fours when you're ready. And we'll do all that on the other side. So step your left foot outside of your left pinky. Both hands will be inside of your left foot. And then lunge forward, turn your left thigh and toes out to the front corner. You can stay on your palms or lower down onto your forearms. And we'll take a couple breaths here. Forearms could also go down onto a block. You could stay here or here the whole time, or walk your hands out to the side like 2 o'clock, forearms, block forearms or palms. Keep feeling the left thigh pressing back. You're rolling towards the pinky toe edge of the foot. You can stay here or reach your left arm up and catch your right foot, your right ankle with your left hand. Push down into that forearm and kick back to turn your chest towards the left wall, or maybe even clear up to the ceiling. And then from here, you'll pull your heel into your hip and lower down, nose towards the mat. One more breath. And then you'll slowly come back up and release that back foot if you have it, and come on into pigeon pose. Wiggle your left foot over to the right. You can do this one on your back, left ankle over the right thigh. Take a moment to open your chest, square your body, and then come on down. Breathe down to your hips. One more here. Nice. And then come on up and we'll set up for Shavasana. So I'm going to point my mat the other way. You can lie down on your back from here and hug your knees in towards your chest and just rock a little left and right, massaging the back. And then bring the palms of your hands over your knees and just circle around the circumference of your sacrum. Go the other way, just releasing any residual tension around your low back and your hips. All these good hip openers really help with that. And then extend your legs, Shavasana, corpse pose, palms face up, eyes closed. Take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. Give yourself this time and space to just be. Let go, let go, let go. So if you can, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. Stay in your Shavasana. Enjoy the most important pose of your practice.